Lewis from the pocket, launching downfield. Mitchell, touchdown, Texas.
You are looking live at the College Football Insiders Show.
You throw it. McCarthy looking, throws deep, got a wide open receiver. Cornelius Johnson sprinting, touchdown Michigan.
Now, here are your hosts, ready to break down this weekend's top matchups.
Yeah, buddy. Week 12, college football, NCAA Insiders. I'm your host, Matt Grissom, joined as always by Quentin Mills and Smitty Bucks. What's up, fellas?
That Michigan-Ohio State, can we just cancel this week and just fast forward to next week?
Yes,
I'm
we've got a lot
pumped.
of duds this weekend.
Yeah.
We got little Power 5 beating up on little brothers this weekend. Boring. Next weekend is definitely must-watch TV. What's up, Smitty?
What's going on, boys? I'm excited. We got some winners on the board this weekend.
You're gloating your Pitt play last night.
Hey, here's the thing. There's a couple more on this board that you got to be careful because that Pitt one was weird last night. Why was Pitt favored in that game? They're down to, I don't even know who's quarterback in that Pitt team. I think they brought back somebody from like the 80s to quarterback that team, maybe Alex Van Pelt or something. But a big win last night. I gave it out, big winner. So we started the weekend off.
I think they slapped a mustache, told Kenny Pickett to get back out there. They won't even recognize it.
Well, if you saw passes going to the sidelines for about 3 yards, then you would have known it was Pickett.
All right, let's recap last week. Decent week, 13-7 plus 5 units. Unfortunately, I killed the teaser play. How many times have we heard that this season?
You're done.
I can't pick a teaser to save my life.
I don't understand what's so hard about it.
Oh, come on.
It's just whipping your ass.
Well, for starters, don't ever trust Mac Brown in a game where he's a 2-touchdown favorite.
Yeah.
Do that. Get taken to the wire, double overtime to Duke. Pathetic.
Just whatever Smitty's backup picks are, just go with that one.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. All right, so lit it up like a Christmas tree. Going back to the Week 12 matchups. You ready to dive into it?
Yeah.
A little Georgia Bulldogs go down to Knoxville to take on, or I guess up, geographically challenged Tennessee Volunteers coming off a throbbing by the Missouri Tigers. Just really shit the bed last weekend. Do they bounce back against Georgia, or does Georgia once again flex the muscle when they play in a big game? I'll start with you, Q.
I think you said it best on Jeff's show. So Knoxville is obviously loud. It's going to be hype for the first half. But then Georgia, as you allude to, they just kind of like a boa constrictor. They kind of mess around with you. They start a little slow, and then they just do that slow squeeze of death. And starting in the third quarter, and then by the fourth quarter, you're like, oh, they're up 14 or up 17. Nobody can convert a first down, third downs, or 2 for 7. Tennessee's going to start a little bit better than they did last week. They're just going to be hyped for this game. But I think Georgia takes it in the second half. Georgia, they're starting to come in their own. We talked about it on Jeff's show. You get Ladd McConkey back a couple weeks ago. You get Brock Bowers back last week. Carson Beck's kind of now into his own. People forget, it's the first year that he started. It takes a couple games to kind of get that rhythm, not only on a confidence level, but with your team, just the surrounding, the prep for week to week. He's starting to find a groove, and you can tell he's comfortable now. I think Georgia, I think I'm going to jump on that 9.5 with you, Matt. I like that, especially in the second half. It'll be close early. It'll start to come away towards the end.
Smitty.
Yeah, Georgia's been all over this. 8-2 last 10, 6-game winning streak here. Tennessee last win 2016. I think this is a great environment. I think Tennessee has to come out quick. You got to get out, get the crowd into it, get Joe Milton in some good spots. I think if Georgia jumps on them quick, it's in trouble for Tennessee here. You get the crowd into it. Milton can do some quick throws, run the ball a little bit, play some good defense. But like Q said, Georgia has so many weapons. You know, Bauer's coming back. McConkey's back there now. He's doing really well. They got the duo at running backs. Beck's playing well in this. I think this is a team that's on a mission. They jumped up to number 1 now in the rankings. They want to put it on. It's a pass for me. I have no action in this. I might buy tomorrow, but right now it's a pass. It depends on the start. Georgia gets out fast. This could be a blowout. If Tennessee can hang in this, it's a tough environment. It could be a closer game.
Yeah, I think definitely this is one to live bet.
Yeah.
Also, because I think it's going to be a tale of two games. If you can catch Georgia, getting a shorter price than a touchdown at any point of the game, I think you hammer that. But also, I think if Tennessee is playing them close through the half, you can also bet Georgia's second half too. But what were you saying?
I was just going to say, when you look at the history of Tennessee football, is this one of the easiest, loudest stadiums to play in as an away team? Like, when you look at it, I mean, outside of last year, Alabama would go in there. It's super loud. The fans are loud, and they win. Florida goes in there all the time and wins. Georgia goes in there and wins. Like, I know it's loud, but it almost seems like teams are unfazed. But then you go to, like, a Michigan or a Penn State or Ohio State or a Florida, and teams are actually intimidated. I think Tennessee might be the easiest away schedule for somebody to play. You almost play better in Tennessee than you probably do in your own stadium. It's kind of weird. It's almost like the fans have no factor.
Well, and I think when you talk about a solid team like Georgia, they're not going to beat themselves. It's not going to be, a false start to start every drive. Like sometimes you play at Alabama, you go in there, deer in headlights look.
Yeah.
Or you play at Michigan, Happy Valley, whatever. But I don't know. I think Tennessee does have somewhat of a home field advantage. We saw it last year in the Alabama game. But on the flip side, I think Alabama just missed a lot of opportunities last year. They probably would have won. Coin flip game as I pop my Rolling Rock, old Latrobe.
College, baby.
This one kind of is just a coin flip, but I feel like Louisville with that ranked number beside their name is going to get a lot of public money, but it really hasn't. This was pretty evenly split. Louisville takes on Miami. Hard Rock isn't really a home field advantage, I feel like, for Miami fans. What are you doing in this one, Smitty, if anything?
Yeah, this one kind of reminds me of the Pitt game last night, because I was on Miami last week. And it was a train wreck watching that game. And I was writing Q's dad because he's a big Miami fan. I was like, this is tough to watch. Like, this kid can't throw the ball at all. Then he got a lucky throw and they covered the spread. Then he blew his arm out again. Van Dyke got benched. Now he's back. And I mean, it was just painful to watch this game. But you look at this line and you're like, shouldn't this be a lot higher? Like, why in the world? Like, Miami was favored a couple of days ago. I think Louisville now is like -1. I saw on one site today. It's just one of those games that's a little weird here. Plummer is a good quarterback. He can throw some INTs too for the Cardinals here. I've said it on our shows. I really like the coach. Brom's a really good coach. I'm not the highest fan of the Miami coach, but this just has something. Yeah, it has something a little bit. I don't know what's going on here. It's no play right now for me, but man, I'm leaning towards the Hurricanes.
I think Louisville got their scare last week against Virginia in that Thursday night game. And this Louisville team has surprised me this year, but I think they are the better team. Miami has let a couple of games get past them, though. So I truly think it's a coin flip. In the last 5 games, the spread hasn't mattered. The favorite team has won by an average margin of victory of 21 points. So don't feel like we're going to get that this week, but I do feel like Louisville is the better team here and will end up getting it done.
Miami 7-3 last 10 in this.
Good to know. So a team that ails me, North Carolina, they're catching 7.5 in this one. The projections actually have North Carolina winning. Granted, I don't think Clemson loses this game. I was inclined to take the touchdown with North Carolina, but then I backed off because the Clemson defense, I feel like, could keep this lower scoring. And if you're going to have a knockout drag down fight like I think you could, I think Clemson could win this game like 24-10, something like that. Are you doing anything in this one, Q?
Yeah, I teased up North Carolina to plus 14.5.
You dog.
I would agree with you. I think Clemson probably wins this game. I think, especially being a state line game, it's kind of a rivalry. Clemson's going to be up for it, especially in Death Valley. But I don't think they're going to win by more than 14. I think it could be a 7-10. But I just wanted that insurance. North Carolina, yeah, they're starting to fade into the Mac Brown that we initially talked about. Then we kind of went to, well, maybe they're legit. They beat a couple good teams, and then they fell right back in. So I think North Carolina probably loses a close game, but I like that hook on the 14 and a teaser to kind of hopefully save me a play.
Yeah, and this one's stayed. It got down to 7, went back to 7.5. I think they're just begging you to take that 7 plus 7.5. I think the public is probably backing North Carolina here just because of the recency bias of, okay, yeah, Clemson's not good this year, but this line is at 7.5 for a reason right now. And I know Dabo has gone through his rah-rah speech, but I'm leaning towards laying it with Clemson if I had to.
What's middle?
What are you doing, Smitty?
Yeah, it's a pass right now. I think with this game, Carolina can move the ball. Clemson does have a good defense, but can Clemson finish drives? They move the ball and then they kind of stall down the red zone a lot. They do. I do like both their running backs on this game. This one was, you look at it right away and you're like, wow, why is this 7-2? I kind of think the same thing. I think this is maybe Clemson's going to come in here and take care of business and win maybe by about 10 points. So I would lean Clemson in this game.
I mean, North Carolina is not going to be able to stop them on offense. I feel like they're going to make Klubnik look good. And like you said, the running backs, they're going to have success too. Pac-12, Utah, and my darling of late, the 8-2 ATS Arizona Wildcats host the Utah Utes. And I don't, again, a slim margin in this one. I want to back Arizona, but because I like them, I think Utah is probably the right side here. So I ended up taking Utah money line for a half unit. I just feel like Kyle Whittingham, he knows what this team is. You probably going to get a 11, 10 win season, 11 if you win the bowl game. I don't know. I think Utah takes care of business here. I think the defense is going to be something different for Fafita that he hasn't faced before. So I think the Utes win. Talk me out of it, Smitty.
Yeah, 6-4, last 10 in the series here. Again, it's a Utah team that's just really good physical team here. Like you said, the backups come in. Now he's taking over the starting role. He's doing really well. I mean, what a great job again by this Arizona program and the head coach turning this thing around pretty quick overall. They've, 4 straight wins. But this one, again, this one's scary. I want nothing to do with this game. I'll watch. I mean, if it's on anything, and keep an eye on it. But I would do the same thing. I think that was a good call by you. Maybe throw a little bit of money on the money line with Utah.
Q, Millie.
Yeah, echo that. I think Fafita's going to run into a defense he hasn't seen. Winning Utah, man, they're just in every game, even without Cam Rising, and that's got to stand for something, from the athlete's perspective, from the coaching perspective. They've given far better teams than Arizona a run for the money this year. I think Arizona's playing incredible football. They're definitely on the rise. I really hope this program stays on the rise. I think it's good for college football, but I think they kind of run into a Utah Utes team that isn't phased by playing on the road, and I think Utah kind of handles it today. Or tomorrow.
And I misspoke. There's no way they're going to win 11 games. They could win 10, though. They close out the season against Colorado, who we know has struggled here lately. But, all right, moving over, Kansas State, a big one down in Lawrence. Kansas is on their third-string quarterback. I laid it early, Kansas State minus 7.5. I was unfazed getting 7 in the hook with the Wildcats. I just think they're going to take care of the little brother. What do you think, Smitty?
Yeah, I have it down as a 14-game win streak here in the series here for Kansas State, if I'm correct on my numbers there. Howard, the quarterback's been really good. I need a big game tomorrow. I play Q in the playoffs tomorrow. Let's go. Give me some points. Give me some fantasy points. I think I even had the running back in my lineup tomorrow. Get this high scoring, fellas. Put it on little brother. I think you're in okay shape. I like this Kansas State team. Like you said, I think the big thing, being the backup, was doing an okay job. But I think he's out. The third stringer is going to be in there. I think it's too much. Again, I really like this Kansas program. I really respect the head coach, but Kansas State just has too much power in this. I think they're going to blow them out. Score a lot of points, fellas. Fantasy. Let's go.
Plus, you've got all the Lance Leipold. Where's he going to go? Is he going to get offered the job at Texas A&M? Is he going to Michigan State? I don't know.
I think I got good news, though. I think Daniels did say this week that he is returning to school. Now, if the kid can stay healthy in quarterback, I mean, that's a pretty good quarterback coming back for your program.
Q, you doing anything in this one?
Hopefully Giddens isn't doing much in this game. I think Kansas State, I don't want to say easily wins, but I think they cover the 8. I think it's a 10-point game here. I don't think Kansas is the worst team. I mean, if the backup can do well, I think they're kind of in the same boat as Utah, where like the third string's probably going to do okay as well. Best defense they'll face in a while. It's probably a pass for me for right now. If anything, I actually do like teasing down the points taking the over, because I think it could kind of be slow, like the Kansas State Texas game, and then kind of ramp up towards the end.
I'm down the Governor's Cup, it's called. Get that Governor's Cup. Let's go.
That's it.
Okay. I can't wait to see how
Is it red or blue?
I have no clue.
mob mentality.
I'll keep an eye out for that tomorrow.
All right. The big one, number 5, Washington takes on number 12, Oregon State. The Beavers, 16-1 against the spread at Reser Stadium over the last 3 seasons. Q, does Penix and Washington come in and continue their race for the college football playoff, or does the trendy dog Beavers, I guess it would be the trendy Beaver, do they shut the door on Washington's dream season?
I don't think so. I think the script has already been typed out. You're going to get a undefeated Washington team playing a one-loss Oregon team. I laid a little more juice. I took Washington plus 3.5. That way, if they lose by a field goal, it's a cover. I think Washington wins outright, though. I think you're going to see a Washington-Oregon pretty much for all the marbles for a college football playoff spot. Oregon State, hell of a season. 6-6 last year. They're 8-2 this year. So they've already improved. DJU, though, in big games, I mean, we've seen him kind of shut down. This is a massive game. Hopefully, he plays well. Hopefully, it's an exciting game. But I think what Washington's got's legit. I think they escape another week.
Smitty,
I'm on the Beavers. I love this team. I think it's like you said, 16-1 ATS. I think this is a playoff game for Washington here. They lose this. Could they sneak back in? Maybe, but this is a big game. They've been playing okay, just okay. Great environment. Now, what scares me a little bit, Washington gets out fast, gets some quick scores in this. This Oregon State team, like we said on many shows this year, they want to pound the ball with the running back, with the quarterback, and some quick short throws, move the ball. They want to be physical on the offensive line. I am looking at that to be a little slower paced game. Who's more physical? The Beavers are. I want them to pound the ball in this game, keep it lower scoring, and win a tight game. So I went money line this week with the Oregon State Beavers.
4 straight unders in this matchup. So we'll see. I think Oregon State does pull the upset. Granted, they are the favorite now, so I don't know what you call that. I think anytime you've got a top 5 team that's undefeated going in to face anything else, it's an upset. All right, the abysmal Arkansas Razorbacks host Florida International, one of the worst teams in college football as far as my power ratings go, yet they're getting 30 points, 29 points. I took it with FIU. I got it plus 31.5 earlier in the week. I think this Razorbacks team is done. They've mailed it in. I wouldn't be surprised if you see KJ turn over the reins to Jacoby Criswell as the backup. Rocket Sanders is probably going to sit out. We've just dealt with injuries. We've dealt with offensive coordinators getting fired. Now we're dealing with Sam Pittman's buyout talks. Is he going to get fired? Does the board of trustees want to keep him? Nobody knows. It's just a shit show up in Fayetteville. So give me Florida International. I think they'll be able to make this game weird. Who knows? Maybe another Western Kentucky or North Texas, back in the Chad Morris era, where we just get really embarrassed at home once again. Q?
You're really talking me into this. Yeah, I think I might lay the or take the Florida National points. What does Arkansas have to play for? I know the Pittman stuff. There's even them talking about he might go to like Bama or Georgia and be the a line coach already. It's floating around. On top of, do they keep him? Do they not? What's the offensive situation? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take the points with you. I can't really even talk to this game. I told you last week there would be some regression. Winner. Good point. I think it's the same thing. Like you said, Rocket Sanders gave up. KJ's fat. He gained 45 pounds since last year. The only reason Florida lost was because they decided to try to tackle him at the top of the tree. That's just not happening. Listen, Florida International is going to be cutting those legs down like it's a Christmas tree that they're getting ready to throw in a house. Hit the stump. He's done.
Hey, listen, I watched the Florida International. I watched a Florida International game, I think twice this season. One was when they did the Miami Vice.
Those were sick. I watched those.
Those were sick. So for that,
it was piss raining out there
alone.
They were playing in a monsoon.
Yeah, Florida International. That's the side. They had like Corvettes or Lamborghinis or something on the sidelines too, which oddly enough, that's what KJ Jefferson got. He got a brand new red Corvette.
Let's talk about what his outfit's going to be to the stadium.
He got that Corvette 6 months ago before the season started. He still has gotten tags on it. It still has temp tags that expired in September.
They're going to take the car back for performance.
Take care of business, man. That is the Razorbacks in a nutshell right there. You drive fast, but you ain't got a license or tags. Good job, Smitty.
They're taking it back.
I'm not doing anything here. Arkansas, one of my losers last week. I'm so bitter with them. So maybe I should jump on with you guys on that. Maybe I will, but right now let's move on.
All right. So another one, we've got to talk about the Florida Gators. They go to Columbia to take on Missouri, and Missouri coming off a big win against Tennessee. They just played Georgia. Do they slip up here? Because I think they do. I took the points with Florida plus 11.5. I think Florida is going to score on them, and I think Missouri may be getting a little fat and happy. Plus, Eli Drinkwitz has perhaps the most punchable face in college football. His comments to Josh Heupel, we stand on business, and then ran off like a coward. Like, this guy, I can't stand him. But he's got the Tigers playing well. I think the buck stops or slows down a little bit with the Gators coming to town. Sunbelt Billy going to Columbia, pull off the upset. Maybe. I don't know. Q, you like the points with Florida?
No, sadly, I think Eli Bumnuts and the Missouri Tigers get the job done. I think Florida's offense will compete in the game, and then the defense will just blunder down again like they did last week. God, I'm a bad gambler. I can't bet against my team, so I just don't bet in the game, but I think the right side is the Missouri minus 11.
Smitty.
Yeah, I was looking at this game for 18 points. I have 2 on the board so far. This was one that was close for me. I really liked Florida's team points over. The other day it was 23.5. I think they'll get that. I think they'll get over that. I think their offense is playing well. I like the quarterback. I like the 2 running backs. I think they have some good weapons on offense. It's just the defense can't stop anybody. It's just a really bad defense. But I think their offense will score that. So keep an eye on the team points for Florida.
It's a 42-28.
Ooh. All right, Smitty. Get your crown and let's tease it up. Tease me, you know what I want, and I got you. out to the king himself, who has never lost.
Woo! Feeling good. The crown looks good. My hair looked very good today, so it kind of stinks I put the crown on. But all right, let's
I
go.
think you need an HD camera to see that hair.
Well, oh yeah. Sorry, don't have that yet.
All right.
I don't need that because it'd be too much gray hair in it. So let's go.
Best bets recap. Start with the teasers. What you got?
Yeah, let's go. I'm going right back to what I did last week. I went against Temple. I'm going to go right at it again. I'm taking UAB. UAB's at home. I like UAB. They can score a lot of points. Temple, like I said last week, they can't really stop anybody, and they're not very good at home. So I'm going to take a chance again, take down UAB to about a pick 'em. UAB, again, I'm going to say it again. They will win the game. Take UAB. Go Blazers.
I also like the over in that game, just so you know. I took over 62.5. Q, what you doing?
I like Michigan minus 12. I think they win by 17-21 against a Maryland team that's just kind of fallen off the tracks. If you can win by 9 against a way better Penn State defense without throwing the ball in the second half, you should have no problems covering the minus 12 in a teaser against Maryland.
All right, I took the America's Darling, who got screwed by the NCAA.
Timeout, Smitty. What's your backup play?
Oh.
I personally, I just look. And to everybody, I didn't know what these guys were going to do here with the teaser. So I'm looking right now at the same time we're giving it out. And I really do like this play by Matt. I think James Madison's a really good play. So
thank you. Might be in luck.
This is the best athletic program in college football.
They don't lose.
Or in anything. They're 3-0 in basketball. They're 10-0 in football. The NCAA completely screwed them. This is their Super Bowl. Go beat 6-4 App State. Beat the brakes off of them. Taking it down to -2. Go Dukes. That is plus 120. 3-team, 7-point teaser.
All right. Game day.
Game day's there. Yep.
Yeah, game day.
Recap your best bets. We'll start from the bottom. Smitty.
Yeah, I'm going to go Virginia Tech at home. I just like the environment. Now, my neighbor's not going to like it because he loves NC State. And NC State's been playing really good football. So I just think it's a good spot. I think Virginia Tech will get the win. I'm going to go Minnesota here. Now, they play Ohio State. But if you look, Minnesota has done a really good job over the last couple of years playing against this team. And what do you have next week? You got the big game next week. Can Ohio State be sleepwalking a little bit? I'm going to take a chance with it. I'm going to go the Gophers. Hopefully they can score a couple, some points here and there. Not the greatest offense there. Again, I'm going to stay up with Oregon State. Money line, gave that already. I like Indiana too, -3. Michigan State's lost like 7 out of 8. And if you really look Indiana over the last couple weeks, they have done a great job. They hung right there with Penn State. Could have maybe sent that game into OT. They beat Wisconsin, and then they threw 45 points up against Illinois last week in a shootout. They're scoring points. Michigan State is not. I think Indiana is peaking at the right time. They'll get the win. They'll cover the 3. Team points, I like Rice team total over 23.5 against Charlotte. Rice has been scoring pretty good the last 5 games. Charlotte, the last 3 games, has given up 38, 26, 44. So I like the over 23.5. And then last one, USC, team total over 35.5. UCLA, a lot of info came out. Chip Kelly's going to get fired. I don't know where their motivation is. And this is Williams' probably last game there in college. I think they'll try to put on a show. I think UCLA will score too. I think this one's going to be extremely high scoring, but I think USC will throw at least 40-something points on the board. So take the team points over there. 19-15 on the season with the team points.
Q.
I like West Virginia and Morgantown to get it done against a horrible Cincinnati team. Emory Jones, not a great quarterback. Garrett Green, decent quarterback. West Virginia, good defense. It's going to be loud in Morgantown. I like them to cover. Already touched the Washington State. I got a Georgia, Iowa, Texas Tech money line parlay. Georgia, I think, just beats Tennessee and shows their dominance. Iowa's playing a pretty brutal Illinois team at home. Tough place to play. Lockdown defense. Texas Tech money line is playing UCF. UCF coming off a slaughtering game last week against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I don't think that happens in back-to-back weeks. I still think they're struggling in the Big 12. Texas Tech playing for a bowl game. I think they get it done at home. Teaser, Michigan minus 12.5. I touched on them. UNC plus 14.5. I touched on them. I think they lose the game, but they don't lose by more than 2 possessions. And then the Georgia, Iowa money line at the essentially an even bet. Lockdown defense, Georgia gets it done.
So
and I think
Michigan,
the jump on Florida International.
Now that I'm a Michigan fan, does it scare you that last year at Michigan, Maryland only lost this game 34-27, and Michigan, I don't know if you know this, they're without their head coach. They're all over the news cycles. They've got Ohio State next week.
Doesn't scare me.
Are they unfazed by this?
They'll be
unfazed. I think if anything, they are more motivated to whip the Terrapins' ass because Jim Harbaugh won't be there, because they're getting slammed in the media. Like, when you can win a game against Penn State and not even have to throw the ball, you just power flexed on a team. Maryland is half of what Penn State is. They're going to slaughter on purpose to show that they're unfazed by this.
Yeah, Maryland last week, too, didn't do much against Nebraska. Now, Nebraska has a pretty good defense, but Michigan does, too. I just think what Maryland's what we say every year. They get off to a great start, and then they play some better Big Ten schools, and they can't do anything. I think Michigan's going to be in good shape. I don't think this is sleepwalk. A couple years ago, they threw like 50-some points on this team. I don't think they're going to do that, but I think they'll hit in the 30 range. I think they'll be okay. They'll shut down Maryland's offense.
I was actually leaning towards taking the under 14.5 on Maryland. Do you like that as the resident team total expert for NCAA Insiders?
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see like a 30, 32, 10, and something to 14.
Here's my theory of why, because I would lean Michigan minus 19, minus 20. But I could also see a scenario where they go up 30 points and then Maryland scores a touchdown or two to backdoor cover it. So I wouldn't want any part of that, but I think the 14, I'd be hard pressed to convince me that they're going to get more than 14 points against this Michigan defense. They put up 15 against Penn State. I think Michigan's better than Penn State.
Yeah.
But
I think their defense will flex too with Partridge just getting fired. We don't need him either.
Not an official play, but under 14.5 Maryland. I'm looking at. All right, Georgia minus 9.5. I talked about it earlier. Utah money line. Talked about that one earlier. Florida plus 11.5. Echo the same sentiment. One I did not touch on, UNLV. Barry Odom from Arkansas, defensive coordinator, takes the job, loses Bobby Petrino a month before the season starts as he bolted in Bobby Petrino fashion for Texas A&M. See how that worked out. UNLV fighting for a shot to win the Mountain West. They're 9-1 against the spread. Bettors rejoice. It's the best covering team in college football. Knock on wood, they do it again. Plus 3.5 versus Air Force.
Can Air Force just win that game? Because I have over 8.5 wins, and they were 8-0, and now they've lost 2 straight. So let's get a win on Air Force.
They slept walk last week. They probably should have won that game.
Some guys are banged up.
Louisville money line. We talked about it earlier. Van Dyke, he ain't the guy for Miami. That's proven. Louisville, I think, is a better team. Still have a lot to play for to meet ACC champion Florida State. Yes, I'm trying to jinx them because I want them out of the college football playoff. Florida International plus 31.5. There's nothing left in the tank for Arkansas. Oregon State minus 1, the money line, however you want it. I'm taking the Beavs at home. 16-1 record speaks for itself. I said it at the beginning of the season. The Pac-12 is going to end up cannibalizing each other. It's time for Washington to get cannibalized here. Let's do it. And then I parlayed. It's a little special parlay. Okay. I know it's a lot of heavy favorites. Michigan, Oregon, Georgia. Those are 3 that I feel like are going to make the college football playoff. They're going to win this weekend. And then you can get cute with it. So I did one where I threw in Washington State tonight. That will be a Colorado-Washington State game. I don't trust laying 4.5 with Washington State, although I do think they get the win. Cam Ward, we've made money on him this season. I think they're a solid team. Deion Sanders is losing recruits, saying, I don't know if Coach Prime's going to be there when I get there next year. 5-star out. We'll see. The wheels look like they're falling off Colorado entirely. So I do think you could throw moneyline parlay in with Washington State. It's going to get you plus 120, and then you're just coasting into tomorrow, rooting for the heavy favorites. If for whatever reason that loses, or if you want to get cute like I did, throw in JMU. Like I said earlier, I don't think James Madison's losing this game. That's only minus 117 plus a lot of heavy favorites. So that being said, do you have any other final thoughts, Q or Smitty, before we let people go?
Nothing.
Best of luck. Cash
give me a fun fact on something, Smitty, or a basketball bet.
I have not looked at the basketball card yet tonight, so I'm going to try to go do that and get a couple wild. All I'll say about basketball right now, it's just crazy. You have a big lead, and it can vanish quick. Last night, for example, I was finally on a good one. I had Missouri. They were down by 18 in the second half, came back and got the money line win. So right now, it's been crazy, so be careful. I've had some good days and has had some bad days, but that's the way gambling is.
No pick for us. What are we even paying you for?
I'm sorry. I was at my main job, so.
All right, cash some tickets. Cheers.